Hello and welcome to today's Yumbles seller interview. My name is Katie Kittery. I'm one of the founders of Yumbles, and I'm really delighted today to speak to a fantastic chocolatier who's been on Yumbles for quite some years now. And she is based in Gateshead, and one of her many specialties is vintage chocolates, which I love. So if I can first of all invite you, Jane, to introduce yourself and your business.
Yeah, thank you. So my name's Jane Williams, and my business is Davenport's Chocolates. The name Davenport comes from my maiden name, because Davenport sounds much nicer than Williams. Williams chocolate just wouldn't cut the mustard. So yeah, I started the business about 16 years ago now, when I got married actually, and my husband and I set the business up together. He's got a sort of artist and designer background, so our skills partner up quite well. I'd previously been working for a Swiss chocolatier for 7 years, so I'd sort of got a lovely heritage of Swiss skills, and sort of traditional recipes and background, I guess. So yeah, we brought those skills together.
Oh, fantastic. So did you learn on the job with that chocolatier, or did
Yeah. So when I finished university, what feels like a long time ago, I was looking at lots of different graduate jobs, and they just didn't quite take my imagination. And I was really trying to pinpoint what my enthusiasm would be captured by for the rest of my life, which was quite a big decision. But I just kind of pinned it down to I love chocolate more than most things. And I'd been making chocolates all through my teenage years just at home.
okay.
And so despite having got a first class honours degree at university, I shelved all of that and asked if I could be taken on as an apprentice with a Swiss chocolatier, who works down near London. And it was a little patisserie that was run by two brothers, and they'd inherited it from their parents. So it was a sort of second generation patisserie. And I learned chocolate making skills under Philippe Berger, who was just a lovely old gentleman and just took me under his wing. So yeah, that was a brilliant 7 years of my life.
Oh, well, amazing. So after 7 years doing that, you then left and started your business.
Yeah, so I moved up to Newcastle, and in doing so was looking around for jobs, and there weren't many chocolatiering jobs, so I created my own, which was good because I don't know if I'd have done it unless I'd have had that sort of push to do so, and that move of location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you start out? Where did you start, first of all, selling? Was it kind of market?
Yeah. Yeah, we rented a small sort of easy in, easy out unit on a trading estate, and we just sort of approached different retailers, different restaurants, different hotels, and yeah, really look back with fondness at some of the people that very first took us on, and gave us that sort of lift up into to growing the business a bit more. So.
Okay, fantastic. And what was kind of your concept, in the early days? What was kind of unique about Davenport's, and have you continued in that vein, or have you pivoted at all?
Yeah, I think because I'd spent a long time making chocolates under this chocolatier who had very traditional values and skills, I really felt that there was a danger of that heritage being lost. And so I very much wanted to integrate that into what I was doing. And although I have and continue to do so, I have lots of new ideas. I always try and preserve that too, because I think there are sort of really wonderful traditions in our country of chocolate making, that we were one of the first countries to have a chocolate factory because it sort of coincided with the Industrial Revolution. And things that are really nostalgic, like fondant creams, like toffees and fudges. I think those recipes are often kind of associated with quite cheap chocolates, but I wanted to really elevate those and just retain the sort of rich heritage that those recipes could have. So yeah, you mentioned at the beginning a sort of vintage slant to our chocolates, and I've really tried to just preserve that heritage. So often introducing new flavors, but retaining that core sort of set of recipes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And things like you've got the violet creams and all
Yeah.
these fabulous old recipes that, as you say, you've elevated and modernized as
Yeah.
well.
The
Great.
Parma Violet creams, I still have the bottle of Parma Violet oil that Philippe bequeathed to me. And if I'm to buy that new, it's about £1,000 to buy a new bottle. But I'm still just working through drops of the old bottle. It's incredible. So I hope it lasts for my lifetime. So
Amazing, amazing. So 16 years in, well,
yeah.
20 3 years in chocolate making. What are you kind of loving most about your job? And are you able to kind of still dedicate a lot of your time to the actual art of chocolate making now that you're obviously running a successful business?
Yeah, I still get very involved with the making of it. So although we've been going for quite a while and we've actually kind of grown and sort of moved with the times, we're not a big business. So at the moment, it's still mostly myself and my husband, and then sort of other staff to help with packing. So I'm still very hands-on making a lot of the recipes at the moment, and I do all the product development. So yeah, hugely hands-on and hugely still eating a lot of it because I still love it. Sadly, not been cured of chocolate. I don't think there is a cure.
Yeah, I discussed this with another seller recently. You literally,
Yeah.
it's proof that chocolate, you'll never have enough chocolate. There is no
Yeah.
end to it at all.
Yeah.
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 Great. So what for you, in these 16 years of running your business has kind of really stood out as like a real highlight achievement for you that you've kind of really been satisfied with?
I think seeing the improvements that we've made to our packaging over the years, I think is one of the things I'm most proud of, because we really started off and it was sort of very twee and buying things off the peg, but then just being able to develop things that can adapt and really feel like they stand out as a product, I think is something that I'm really proud about. But I think some of the clients that we've worked for has been really lovely as well. So we've made chocolates for English Heritage. We've made chocolates for booths. We've done a bit of export to China. So there's definitely big projects that I'm quite proud of. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, I remember you were one of the first, if not the first, but one of the first to kind of get really good packaging for Easter eggs. I remember you did a fantastic job a few years ago of like packaging for making postable Easter eggs. So
yeah, that was quite a challenge.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. Great. And what do you find kind of one of the more challenging aspects of running your business?
I think with everybody, the last sort of few years have been sort of difficulties with supply chains and costs, and I think in food there often aren't huge margins anyway, so it's sort of just keeping a really tight eye on costs, and yeah, that I think that remains the biggest challenge, is checking that the profit margins are still there, because they're squeezed from every angle at the moment, from bills to materials to ingredients, and I think people think about the cost of living price, but it's the cost of living crisis, sorry, but it's as much a crisis for businesses as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, your energy costs, your supply chain costs, everything is so food inflation, your supply costs, I'm guessing, has been a real pressure on your business.
Yeah, and we've not wanted to put prices up too much as well, because we know that people in their homes haven't got excess money, and if anything they've got less, so we've just tried to get that tightrope of keeping balance.
Yeah, perfect. And if you were to start all over again 16 years ago when you started with your husband, is there anything you would do differently now in terms of your business?
I think there probably are things we'd do differently, but it's very difficult at the beginning to do everything. But I think we would probably not have tried to do too much at the beginning, try and keep quite focused on single lines or single routes to market, and not try and be managing lots of different routes to market is quite difficult. But yeah, I think you really grow and learn, and I'm really grateful for all the things we've learned.
Yeah. Okay. And what do you find are kind of some particularly indispensable resources for your business, whether it's tools or software or informational resources that you find really help you?
Yeah, I really find it helpful using the digital accounting software. I think that's been I mean, we do use an accountant, but mostly I'm doing a lot of the cash flow things myself and payroll things. So yeah, we use Xero, and it's simplified a lot of things and kept me a bit more accountable onto where everything's going. So I'd say that's been a really useful.
That's a popular one. A lot of sellers are using that.
And then we have a really good food and drink network up here in the northeast, which I found really useful just for sort of meeting contemporaries, because as a sort of self-employed or business owner, you don't always have those contemporaries, and so having a nice local network of other food businesses businesses has been a real support as well.
Yeah, that's really important. That's often feedback we get a lot from other sellers, is they really love hearing these stories and being able to talk to their peers, because you share so many of the same challenges and issues. Having that resource is really invaluable. Yeah, fantastic. Great. So in these 16 years, what would you say is kind of a lesson, a real important business lesson you've learned? I'm sure there's been dozens, but what for you do you think is a good kind of lesson that you know stands out for you?
Yeah, I think probably one of the things for us is learning to manage staff seasonally. So we have a real drop in sales from post Easter, when we've been selling lots of Easter eggs, up until sort of the autumn. Like the whole sort of June to September period is much quieter for us. And when we've had permanent staff, we've often been carrying them through the summer period, and that's often just taken a lot of our business profits in doing so. And whilst it's lovely to be able to sort of give constant wages, we've just not been able to do that sustainably. And it doesn't help our staff if our business isn't growing and being able to put the profits back into the business as well. So partly learning about which staff to have permanent, and then topping up, rather than having too many staff and not being able to support that, I think, the whole time, would probably be a growth lesson for us.
That's really important. I mean, so many food businesses are seasonal in reality. So,
and some are oppositely seasonal. Some are really busy in the summer.
So staffing and hiring is always such a big challenge for small businesses. So how are you getting seasonal staff? What are you doing? How are you going about that?
There's a mixture of things. We've got a really good temp agency up here, which is fantastic. But often it's through friends and family and contacts, and I'm much more keen to employ people that are excited about chocolate more than the experience they might have, just because they will bring that energy into the business. And it's just lovely, when you have that that energy and enthusiasm on site makes a lot of difference.
Absolutely. I think that's a really important thing that we've certainly found at Yumbles, and I think it's common to a lot of small businesses, that the interest and engagement level of the people you hire is almost as important, if not more so, than the experience levels, because you just need that culture on the team, that energy and that flexibility and passion. So okay, great, perfect. And then finally, you have been selling on Yumbles for I should have looked it up, but it's been quite a few years. I was just remembering with you that I last saw you 3 or 4 years ago at a Yumbles meetup, so it's definitely been at least 3 or 4 years, but 6, 7 years, I'm not sure.
I think so,
So what have you found is kind of maybe 2 or 3 top tips for selling online? What do you think really makes a difference to sell successfully online?
I think that's a really good question. I don't know if I know the answer. I think having a good product range, having lovely photos. We've not always managed to do as many lifestyle photos as I think some people have, which possibly is something we still need to improve on. I think always having stock, having good stock levels always helps. I think it's a bit demoralizing if people, would have bought things but then couldn't buy things. And often, it's just remembering to check the stock levels.
And so photography you mentioned there, because that's often the first thing that everyone quite rightly says. Do you do your photos? Because you've got great photos, maybe not as much lifestyle, but they are lovely. Are you doing them in-house, or are you using a photographer?
We are doing them in-house, so we've just got a sort of little photo booth area that we've set up.
Great. So you've got an actual photo booth, kind of a light diffusing photo booth that we've got
sort of proper lighting, and like a small little wall that I can't remember what they call it.
Well, they call them light boxes, or they used to. I don't know if
it's got like a small infinity wall. So it's
Okay, so you've got someone on the team that's kind of perfect.
Yeah, my husband does a bit of photography, so it's a good skill.
Good partner, great. Okay, perfect, fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Jane, for your time today and sharing some of your business story and the life and history of Davenport's chocolates in Gateshead. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you.